in what is expected to be a $900 billion COVID package that is likely to include enhanced unemployment benefits, direct checks, and rental and food assistance.
I would hope very much that this Congress appreciates the pain that is out there.
Friday night, President Trump celebrated the second brand of COVID vaccine getting the green light, tweeting, "Congratulations, the Moderna vaccine is now available." A moment of optimism for a president who has remained out of sight and silent. No public appearances since last weekend. That absence making this tweet stand out. The First Lady released the couple's official Christmas portrait. Meanwhile, President-elect Joe Biden is expected to receive his COVID vaccine Monday, following other government officials, including the Pences and congressional leaders who are eligible under continuity of government provisions. Decisions to make to fill out his cabinet. Attorney General, a major opening, while the Biden team touts its rollout of diverse cabinet nominees. And expect more of that today as President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris appear in Delaware today to introduce publicly more members of their cabinet. Peter?
And Kelly, the Trump administration is now finally speaking out specifically about that massive hack on government agencies and private companies. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Peter, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is saying what President Trump has not, that he believes that pretty clearly Russia is behind the cyber attack that has hit dozens of federal agencies and private companies doing business with the government. It's believed this goes back to as early as March of this year, but was just discovered this month. And lawmakers who've been briefed on this expressed a lot of frustration that they say they have many more unanswered questions. Separately, the U.S. has decided to close outlying embassy offices in Russia, leaving only the headquarters in Moscow for Americans abroad and those who are serving in Russia. Peter, Kristen?
Kelly O'Donnell on the North Lawn at the White House this morning. Kelly, thanks so much.
All right. Well, Dylan is enjoying some time off this weekend, so we are absolutely thrilled to welcome a very special guest, Samara Theodore, from our station here in D.C., WRC. Samara, good morning. It is so good to have you, and we're thrilled you can be here on our first big day in the studio.
I'm so excited, too. The views are absolutely phenomenal for the studio. I can't wait for you guys to see it. But we're talking some activity on the board right now. We're coming off the heels of this big winter storm. Things are quiet on the East Coast, but the question is for how long? So here's the system bringing rain to the Gulf states, into Houston, New Orleans, right on up into western Tennessee, even some snow in the Great Lakes. What's going to happen over the next 24 hours is this is going to shift. That rain is then going to move into the southeast. We're going to see some showers on Sunday in the Carolinas, maybe even a few here in the mid-Atlantic. Northeast could get some light snow showers with all this. How much are we talking? Well, some of the heavier totals are going to be right along that Gulf Coast line into areas like Houston, Lake Charles, New Orleans. And we could pick up 2 inches down that way. That's a look at the forecast across the country. Let's see what's going on a little closer to home. And that's a look at the weather. Back to you guys.
All right, Samara, thank you for that. Great job. And Peter, so excited to have you back in person after an 8-day quarantine, my friend. I know it was tough.
Yeah, even better to be out of the basement these days. You may have heard this last week. The most important news is that I'm safe. I've had multiple negative tests, but this experience really did bring home one of the biggest lessons, I think, of this pandemic, the value of wearing masks. Last week, I was at the White House in our booth, the size of like a closet, with one of our colleagues, a producer. We were together for 9 hours. Turns out the next day we learned that he had tested positive. Fortunately, we were wearing masks the whole time. And the good news is Now I'm okay. The doctor says the mask likely made a real big difference.
Yeah, and we are just so relieved that you're okay. We're relieved our colleague is doing well. And of course, it just underscores what so many people are going through.
And the challenge about being in the basement, as an aside, if I may say, I gave my wife a great review on Yelp. She was terrific. But when I came up after 8 days, of course, the first thing she said to me was, I'm going to go down for the next 8 days. You can watch the kids. So,
I think that's a fair swap.
Yeah, it's for every family. The lighter side of tough times.
Exactly. We're so happy to have you back, Peter.
Well, still ahead right here, keeping their private lives private. A big win in court for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Plus, home shopping networks booming during the pandemic. I'll take you on a behind-the-scenes tour of QVC. But first, these messages.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. We're glad to have you with us.
From our family to yours.
Don't you love the holidays?
Wishing you all the joys of the season. Happy holidays from today.
I'll tell you what the American people's mandate is. Heal the nation. It's why he ran. That is why he won. How close to the breaking point is our hospital system? Why should we feel confident that vaccine distribution will go smoothly? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
The coronavirus exploding to staggering
President-elect
records.
Biden moves forward with his transition. What are your priorities going to be on those first days? With vaccinations ramping up.
How are you feeling?
Incredibly optimistic that we're at this point.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
You're watching NBC News Now.
We've got some breaking news.
Trucks carrying the first U.S. shipment of the coronavirus vaccine. Hope for a whole lot of people who have been waiting months and months.
It's news made for your streaming world.
It's a holiday season like no other.
Yeah, and after such a challenging year, we're going to shine a light on people who inspire and make a difference. We're going to share their stories and help those who deserve it the most.
Join us all month for the season of giving on Today.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
I didn't know, was my child dead? Is my child passed out?
I just kept saying, please be okay, please be okay.
You rush your child to the hospital.
A woman came in, normal clothes. We get down the hallway, and she closes the door. They were accusing me of child abuse.
And that's when the real nightmare begins.
Hey, calm down.
No, it's my children. I can't calm down.
Do No Harm. All 6 episodes, plus a special bonus episode, are available now. Subscribe for free wherever you get your podcasts.
We are back on a Saturday morning in our new studio with the weekly download, our look back at some of the week's top stories.
Among them, the next big step for President-elect Joe Biden's journey to the White House.
The Electoral College made it official, voting to elect Joe Biden as the 46th president of the United States.
538 presidential electors met around the country pledged to vote for the winner of the popular vote in their states. As expected, Joe Biden received 306 electoral votes, Donald Trump 232.
President Trump still refuses to concede. The most powerful snowstorm in years pounded the Northeast.
In frigid Pennsylvania, multiple highway crashes leading to at least 3 fatalities.
This dashcam video capturing a terrifying close call. In New York, several people were rushed to the hospital after a crash involving at least 19 vehicles. Video of the incident captured on the Citizen app.
The weather woes could lead to shipping delays for holiday packages. A Kenyan man was extradited to the U.S. and accused of planning a 9/11-style attack.
The FBI says Cholo Abdi Abdullah was part of a plot by an overseas terror group to attack Americans by hijacking a plane and flying it into a tall U.S. building.
He pleaded not guilty. Major League Baseball took a big step to right a past wrong, formally recognizing Negro League players as full-fledged major leaguers.
Hank Aaron is one of the legends who played in both. Is it true that there was perhaps more talent in the Negro Leagues back then than there was in Major League Baseball?
I would not doubt it one bit. There was so much talent.
If you ever do it again.
Tom Cruise was apparently recorded yelling at some crew members on the set of the latest Mission Impossible movie.
The sound of his fury recorded and published by the Sun newspaper this morning. The newspaper says he saw 2 crew members breaching COVID protocols.
We are creating thousands of jobs,
NBC News has not independently verified the audio, but the New York Times says 2 sources close to the film have confirmed its authenticity.